Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good day today. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Happy Wednesday. Bit exciting. We've got a lot of things going on right now. A couple things to talk about today. Hopefully everybody's feeling pretty good because this is an exciting time, and it's, to be honest, the time I did not think we were going to see anytime soon. Let me go ahead and share my screen here, and we can look at some of the charts. Take a look at what we got going on here. So let's actually fix that real quick. There's a few things going on here, guys. One has to do with the fact that we are no longer going down. All right, so that's number one. And two has to do with the fact that Robinhood may or may not be accepting wallets now. All right, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Let me catch up on some of your comments here first, and then we'll get into what we've got on the agenda. Artful Doger, what's going on, man? With a couple questions there. All right, I'll loop right back around to those. Rick, how's it going? Mr. Rees, what's going on, man? Let's see. Daniel Blaine, how's it going? Thanks for showing up. Thanks for the support. Again, thanks for being a member of the channel. And same for you, Josiah. What's going on? Josiah says you need shirts in the background, and I hope today finds everyone smiling. Thank you, Josiah. I did calm down a little bit on the shirt production, but I'll definitely get back into it with a couple more designs. I want to branch out from Dogecoin and really touch some of the other coins here. And so that's what I'm working on next. But let's go ahead and do trading view here, because of course it's 5:30 Eastern time, which means Webull goes down as soon as the stream starts. You know how it loves to do that. So let's go ahead and use TradingView's chart here to take a look at a couple things, guys. So why don't we start by reading some of Artful's comments here. He says, just in case I fall asleep, I have some questions. So let's, of course, address his questions here and see what he has to ask. And don't forget, guys, if you haven't already, click that like button. That will help refer the stream to other people that might be looking for this kind of stream. And we'll have a great amount of participation today. So Artful says, Robinhood Wallet, what does this mean for Doge, and what will we see happen to Dogecoin? He also says, AMC news in the conversation of with both CEOs, what will that mark the beginning of? China news on Evergrande, have we now gone past the worst of it? Any updates on the SEC ruling on XRP? Did I read the article about Saudi Arabia working with Ripple? And any news on the infrastructure bill? That is actually some really, really good questions, and that pretty much puts together the whole agenda for today's for today's live stream. So if you have any interest in the answer to those questions, stick around, because we're about to answer those questions. All right, so oh, my music's a little loud, so let me turn that down. Sorry about that. So let's start with the first one, the elephant in the room, guys. The image on the thumbnail, Robinhood wallets. What's going on? What does this mean? So just in case you guys are not aware, a couple days ago on Twitter, Vlad, you know how people say like win moon, or for SHIB, win swap. You know, it's kind of the meme in the crypto, you know, when is something going to happen? Spelled W-E-N. Well, Vlad, who's the CEO of Robinhood, he said, "Win wallets." All right, and that got everybody talking about Robinhood wallets. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, or if you've been in the last couple streams, you know my position on what I expected from Robinhood, and I genuinely did not expect them to go down the route of making wallets for Robinhood, for a few reasons, mostly because there's just so much customer dissatisfaction with the way that Robinhood goes down at random times when they need to trade, that most people have been saying things like, if only I could get off Robinhood, if only I could move my crypto somewhere else, but they can't, so they're stuck. Knowing that Dogecoin is the most profitable coin for Robinhood, it would just seem a little foolish to make a wallet and give people an easy out. So I was thinking, it's pretty much impossible that Robinhood does this. They're pretty much throwing themselves under the bus and giving themselves an easy way to start losing money. That being said, they must have figured out a way to do it in a way that's not going to hurt their business model too much, or maybe they just trust that most people are just talking and they're really not going anywhere. Because I guess when you think about it, what other free exchange can you really buy crypto on and not really have to pay any fees other than Robinhood? Your only option is really Webull, and with Webull, if you try and buy or sell, you get filled at really bad prices. So maybe they said, all right, sure, people want to leave, but where are they going to go? And that's a fair point. So if they went with that, cool, they thought that through, and that's, a smart way to think about it. So either way, regardless of whatever business decision they came up on, Robinhood did tease it, and today they did make it kind of official. They made it official. If you go inside of your Robinhood app right now, and you go to your messages, you will be getting notified directly from Robinhood that wallets are coming soon, and it gives you an option to update your app to sign up for it. And I'll just show you exactly what that looks like right here. Here it is. And you may or may not be able to see this. I'm going to try and get my webcam to focus on this for you. Just give it a couple seconds as it adjusts to the light. There it goes. There you go. Nice and clear. Crypto wallets are coming. With wallets, you'll be able to send your coins to other wallets and receive supported crypto into Robinhood so you can trade those coins commission free. Be one to first get the wallets by joining the waitlist. Move up the list by successfully inviting friends to Robinhood. So that's pretty neat. Now, just by the wording here, I don't know what kind of wallets this is going to really be. Is it going to be Robinhood to Robinhood wallets? And receive supported crypto into Robinhood so you can trade those coins commission free. I feel like there's going to be some kind of little footnote there, little asterisk, little fine print that we need to be aware of. For example, what is probably going to happen, if I were to take my best guess, it's going to be free to send cryptocurrency to other Robinhood wallet holders. So from Robinhood Wallet to Robinhood Wallet, free, no fees. If you do from Robinhood Wallet to another wallet, let's say to someone else's Coinbase wallet, or you're buying or selling something in a store and you pay for it from your Robinhood Wallet, there will probably be a fee. That is just my guess now. They have to figure out some kind of way to monetize this whole system here, unless they're just thinking it's going to drive so much more business to Robinhood that they'll make up for it on the transaction fees that they accrue on the back end. So we'll see. These are just my guesses. I'm just speculating. Some shots in the dark. Those are my best guesses. There's got to be something there. We'll see. Either way, guys, it is absolutely massive news. Now, to continue Artful's his question there, what does it mean for Dogecoin, and what will we see happen to Dogecoin? I think this is I've been saying for the last couple months, the biggest catalyst that Dogecoin could get would be Robinhood wallets. So if that tells you how bullish that makes me feel about Dogecoin, if it doesn't tell you, I don't know what would. The reason that I'm saying that is because on Robinhood, that's where almost all of the Dogecoin's being traded. Almost all of it. Even Matt Wallace did a poll and asked where people were holding their Dogecoin, and about 65% of the people just following him said Robinhood, with very few percentage in spread across 5 different answers. So most Dogecoin's being traded on Robinhood, but with Robinhood not having wallets, you can never buy Dogecoin to spend it. You have no opportunity to make use of it. All you can do is buy it with the intention to sell it. So for buying pressure that comes up when we reach a low price, there will be that equal amount of selling pressure once we hit a high price, because people are only buying it to sell it and make money. When you introduce wallets, now you relieve a lot of that selling pressure, because now people can still buy it to buy it, but they have two options. Do they want to just sell it, cash out, and deal with capital gains? Or do they want to hold into it, move it to their external wallet, and just sit on it like they would cash if they didn't want to spend their cash? Or do they want to send it to a friend as a gift? Or do they want to spend it at a store? All of those other options that don't get considered a sell because they're not, on the exchange, on the market, selling it to someone else or selling it back to the exchange. So relieving selling pressure and potentially keeping the same or increasing buying pressure just means naturally all that's going to happen is the price is going to go up. That's all this does, is it allows the opportunity for the price to breathe and actually gives it some room to run. So that makes me bullish on Dogecoin again. And I have not been bullish on Dogecoin for the past couple weeks. So now this is bringing some bullishness, some real catalyst back into Dogecoin. Another reason why this is such a big deal is because, it really opens up the opportunity for these other companies to now see, these guys could actually be serious about all this talk about wanting us to accept Dogecoin, because now this 75% of Dogecoin that has been bought, that was previously just locked up and people were asking, accept Doge just so that the price could go up and they could dump. Now, when the price goes up, they might buy something with it because now they have the option. This is going to make Dogecoin be taken way more seriously across different businesses because, like I said, now the customers can actually spend it. Whereas in the past, that really was not the case. You had to go out of your way. You had to go find an exchange that lets you have a hardware wallet that maybe you didn't really want to use in the first place. Maybe you're paying high fees on Coinbase, or maybe you're looking into something like Kraken or Crypto.com, which also robs you when you want to move your Doge to an external wallet. Now you can do it all in Robinhood, the go-to beginner traders app, the retail traders go-to app for commission-free trading where all the Dogecoin sits. Absolutely massive catalyst for Dogecoin, because like I said, now other companies will start to take note and probably will be more willing to put effort into figuring out a way to accept the payment, because now people can actually make the payment. So that's the thought process there. On top of that, this just only helps us get closer to Tesla accepting Dogecoin. We're already getting the transaction fee reduction, and now we're getting more people able to spend it. Put those two things together is a recipe for success. And then even with AMC, which goes to your next question, AMC news, the conversation with both CEOs, what will this mark the beginning of? It will mark the beginning of great things for Dogecoin yet again. They're extremely serious. They said by the end of the year, they will be accepting Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some other coins as well, Litecoin and another one. I think it was Bitcoin Cash. And then they asked, will you guys be accepting or do you want us to accept Dogecoin as well? Because everybody made such a big deal about it, saying that they were deaf to what the community wanted. And apparently that tweet is the most interacted with tweet that the AMC Twitter account has had ever to date. The one asking about Dogecoin. So if that doesn't tell them how serious people are about wanting them to accept Doge as a crypto, I don't know what would. You combine all these ingredients together and we start getting a nice boiling stew of bullish sentiment for Dogecoin here. Just all the right ingredients being put together at the right time. Really good timing, really good news. And I think this is honestly part of what's making the market rally just a little bit, because even the wallets, that's not only good news for Dogecoin. Bitcoin and Ethereum are other coins that are on Robinhood that are frequently traded. That is great news for those coins as well. All that Bitcoin that's being tied up on Robinhood, all that Ethereum will now be able to get spent as well and not just have to be sold for profit at some point. Good stuff. China news on Evergrande. Have we now got past the worst of it? And so now to tackle these two questions together, because then you said, any updates on the SEC ruling on XRP? No, I did not see that. And I didn't see that Saudi Arabia is working with Ripple, XRP, but that's actually huge. So that's my answer to that question. But let's take the Evergrande and let's take the infrastructure bill. Any news on the infrastructure bill? To both of those, I have to say no. All of this being considered, September is not over. and I want to reiterate this to everybody. If you take a look at the chart here, and you have your EMAs up, and I'm going to go just to this one because it's already set up a little better. Even though it's missed the last 10 minutes of activity, that doesn't matter. If you go to your Bitcoin chart here, the market leading coins chart, and take a look at what we've been trying to identify. What we expected was after this to see the move up, which we did, and either a bounce off of the 200 EMA at 46, about 47,000 and a move up, or a dump down back towards support around 43. And if it broke below there, then we could see a dip down into this orange zone, somewhere in between 37 and 40K. Now we got that dip into that orange zone right at 39.6, but we did not get there for very long. It was just a quick dip in, a rejection out. On the daily time frame, it doesn't even register that it happened, so it was very quick. And then we got out of there like super fast and did a strong bounce, and now we're back at 44. The problem is, historically, September has been a red month for cryptocurrency, for Bitcoin in particular. When you consider that, and you know that everyone's got that on their mind, the way things have been playing out is everyone is trading Bitcoin as if they do expect it to close red. We know that it opened at 47,000. So that means if we're going to close red and follow the pattern of history and follow with everybody's sentiment, we are not going to go much further up than where we are now, because to close red, we'd have to close under 47,000. So we've only got about $3,500 on Bitcoin worth of wiggle room right here, because we're at 43.5 and our limit has to be 47 to close red. Now, if we close above that, then we'll be kind of breaking history and, okay, cool. But the odds are not in our favor to do that. So that's number one. Number two, Evergrande. The news, just because we got a bounce here does not mean that the bad news has worn off. In fact, there have been multiple analysts warning cryptocurrency investors that don't get too bullish all of a sudden because you see a bounce. Though we would like to stay above 40K, just the fact that we're doing that right now does not mean that the bad effects of this news is over. And don't forget, guys, hit that like button if you have not already. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Oh yeah, Rick. Right now, my Webull chart is frozen because they're under maintenance. So this is a little inaccurate. If I were to go to TradingView, this is a little more accurate. But don't get overly bullish here. And here's why I'm saying this. All right. No, the hype is not necessary. The worry is not over. If you go to the daily chart here, things start to make way more sense. Now, we've only got up a couple indicators here. We've got the 50 EMA, we've got the 100 EMA, and we've got the 200 EMA. Those are your three most important EMA timeframes. They're the largest. They're the ones that most people look at. If you take a look at what happened here, all that happened. We got a big, steep pullback. We stopped right at the 200 EMA, which provided support as an area that we'd probably stop at, which we called. And we got a bounce. That bounce went right up to the 100 EMA. So that's all this was. We bottomed out at the 200 EMA. We bounced as we should off the 200 EMA. And we topped out at the 100 EMA. This is just a normal bounce here. There is nothing to write home about here. That we bounced off of 41 and went up to 44. That doesn't mean anything. That does not mean flip to bullish. That does not mean anything at all. Overall, when you look at this price action, all things considered, after this major sell-off, this bounce is pretty small. It's almost not even worth talking about. Just an extremely expected bounce. We bounced off support and we slammed into resistance and stopped. That's not very exciting now, is it, when you look at it that way? So that's why I'm saying we already called that we were probably going to stop at the 200 EMA, and that was probably, when we talked yesterday and we were down here, I said, basically, guys, you should be buying in right off that bounce off the dip zone, 39 up to 40 and up to 41. That's our buy area because there's no reason not to buy it. It is the bottom and we're bouncing, so why are you not buying? Okay, but that being said, what you want to do if you get that chance to buy what is currently the bottom is see how strong the bounce is and what happens next. Now, if we got this candle here and it flew through the 100 and started continuing to head up, that would be a different thing regarding being bullish or not. But just bouncing off support and then hitting the nearest resistance does not mean anything. It does not mean we're bullish. It is simply a pullback from the downtrend. And that does not mean that we will not continue by continuing this rejection as we have here, because right now we're sitting at this area. We bounced and now we're here. That does not mean that we won't just continue down and fall. That is not off the table. So don't get too excited is basically what I'm saying. This was the expected bounce. That is it. Hope that makes sense. So that being said, nothing has happened with Evergrande for us to write it off as oh yeah, well, we already got the bad news, because that's not the case. What we need to know about Evergrande is whether or not China is going to bail them out or not, because that is what's going to determine really if the market's going to crash or if it's not going to crash. The reason I'm saying that, the whole problem with Evergrande is that they were $300 billion in debt. They took on that debt primarily from, large accounts and investors that were relying on the return on their investment to stay in the stock market or in the crypto market or whatever else, because in exchange for their large investments, they were getting like dividends back. Basically, they were getting interest paid on their investment into that company, and they could then use that investment to cover their margin, to trade on margin, with leverage positions, whatever. If you're now saying that Evergrande's just going bankrupt and these investors that put in $300 billion are never going to get another dime of their money back in an interest payment or their original investment, all of their capital that they invested is gone, and they are no longer going to see cash flow to sustain their positions. So that means, their margin positions and their leverage and everything, they're not going to be able to sustain it anymore. So you're going to see them getting liquidated or getting forced to close their positions, which ends up being a sell. And then you're going to see a chain reaction of sells as everybody involved up that chain of investing is forced out of their positions. And that's why everybody's so scared that it's going to crash the market, because the investors are going to be losing $300 billion worth of trading money that they're going to have to figure out, how to protect themselves to the best of their ability. So you're going to see a lot of people selling their Bitcoin, their stock market investments, everything. It's going to spark a crash in the market. We don't have the answer to whether or not China is going to bail out Evergrande or not. If they give Evergrande the $300 billion and bail them out, then the market will probably continue as planned. If they decide not to bail them out, which historically they have decided not to do those kind of things, we will probably see a very nasty continuation crash. So until we get that information, I would not be too excited, but we can look very, very short term and just say, as of today, we bounced off the 200 EMA. We should have bought there. We see a nice move up, and now we're at potential resistance and we're rejecting. So now what next? You can either take profit here and take the couple bucks you made, or you can say, I'm in at a good spot. I'd rather just wait it out and see if we're going to continue up, because if we do, I'm just going to make this my long-term hold position and not mess with it. So you have a couple options, but definitely not past the worst of the Evergrande. We are just scratching the surface. When it comes to the infrastructure bill, no new news yet. I heard someone say something about the 27th. I believe it was Matt. I can't recall. But it is going to be by the end of the month. So by October 1st. October 1st is their deadline. They have to have it figured out and written and, ready to go by October 1st. So that only gives us about 8 days here. 8 days before we're going to be hearing something. But I have not heard anything new about it. But for that reason, too. So now we've got Evergrande, and we've got the fact that the infrastructure bill's coming. Those are two bearish catalysts that are not at their worst yet. I think we could be nearing a potential. And we've got the fact that in people's heads, we're not passing 47,000 until at least after the infrastructure bill gets passed. So we are probably going to see at most a move up to around 45, maybe 46,000, and that be the top, and the whales start to get out. That would be my guess. If not here, maybe we have a couple more thousand to go. But I am not bullish over this next week and a half. Not at all. The only thing I'm potentially bullish on is keeping an eye out for a Dogecoin catalyst to see if any companies make a play or a decision based off the fact that now these wallets are coming and announced acceptance of Doge, or potentially the run-up that we could see on September 25th with the Cardano event, where they're going to be announcing new partnerships. But other than that, there's nothing to be bullish about, specifically with Bitcoin. This is a bearish next week. That's my take, and that's what makes the most sense to me. To each their own. Take that information and do what you want with it. The whole purpose of these streams is just for me to discuss information and analyze a lot of this info for you, which is kind of what I'm usually pretty decent at doing, is determining outcomes based off analysis. So Artful says, lastly, any news on the crypto ETF status? I hear Canada's being used to speed up acceptance in USA. Last thing I heard about the crypto ETFs was positive, that they were still working towards it. I do think it will happen, especially at this rate. Now with, the infrastructure bill is supposed to be regulating some portions of crypto. I don't see any reason why they'd really be fighting against this if everybody's adopting it now. So I think it will be coming. I don't have any new news on it. So thank you for those good questions, by the way. That was what I was wanting to talk about as well. So that was very convenient. And hopefully that answered a lot of people's questions here. Don't forget, guys, smash that like button. I do appreciate you. What's the predictions on stocks and shares, in particular Tesla, Lucid, Rivian? I am not super bullish on Tesla at this moment for reasons I discussed in prior streams, mostly just because I feel like Tesla's about reaching its peak with this Tesla Model S Plaid. The only other exciting things under their belt is going to be the Tesla Roadster and the Cybertruck, and those are going to be out of reach for a lot of people, especially the Roadster financially. But then the Cybertruck, a lot of people are just probably going to go for the Ford F-150 Lightning, and it's going to be more of a like, oh, that person has a Cybertruck because it looks so unique kind of thing on the road. I don't think it's going to go crazy with sales. So for this time being, especially with Tesla up at around 700, 750 per share, I'm good with the current valuation. I am not super bullish. They're going to have to pull something new out of the bag in order for me to get super bullish on them again, because they've just got so much competition at this point. All these other companies, whether that be Tesla taxis, which we talked about, or redoing the body style and interior of the S for next gen, but all those things would be down the line. So as of now, I feel like their valuation is sufficient, so I'm not super bullish on Tesla. Lucid and Rivian, if they're good competitors, then I'd be bullish on them. Feeling good? Awesome. What's up, Byron? How's it going? And Josiah says, oh, hey, so many compliments on the purple Do Only Good Everyday shirt. Thank you so much. Awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you like it. Doge Scotland, what's going on, man? And thanks so much for the Twitter support. I saw here you were just helping me out with the retweets. Appreciate that. Byron says, the last quarter of the year, do I think it's bullish? Absolutely. I am very bullish on this last quarter of the year. Everyone's got 100K Bitcoin on their minds. I think that's, as soon as this month ends, everyone's going to be thinking, all right, the bear month, notorious bear month is over. As long as we've got the infrastructure bill out of the way already and passed, as long as we've got a little more news on Evergrande, there's really nothing holding us back. Now it's time to look for Elon Musk to do his thing, drop in that suspension, and, all other systems are go. All lights are green. I would be bullish on October, November, and December for sure. The only way that would change is if this Evergrande and infrastructure thing does not go very well, and it gets drawn out, or, the infrastructure thing goes not the way that people are expecting it to go, and they start actually cracking down. That's the only reason why I would think maybe no, but the way things are setting up so far, that shouldn't be the case. So I am definitely, at this point in time, bullish on October, November, December, just bearish on the rest of September. But either way, we're at pretty good prices, guys. I mean, ADA 220. We saw ADA 191 yesterday. Hopefully you guys have been able to buy some of these dips and take advantage of these opportunities that we're calling out here, because there will be a time, just like we were just in this time a couple weeks ago when Dogecoin was back at 32 cents. It actually went up to 35. And people were still saying, man, I wish I could have got Doge at 20. Wish I could have got it at 19. here's your like 5th chance to do it. So if we're not buying it up on these 5th and 6th attempts, we can only blame ourselves if we don't buy the dip. So make sure you're getting something. If you've got capital and you're just sitting completely out on the sidelines waiting for a miracle, that would just be luck if it played out for you that way. But we'll see. I will say though, overall, this pattern's pretty decent. It had a move up, a big sell-off, really good stabilization, and it could, we could see a bit of a V-shaped recovery here over these next couple of days as long as things play out all right. So, it's a very short period of time that I'm bearish. Only 7-8 days here is all I've got in the book. So we could be, we could have hit that bottom, and we could be just gearing back up to get to just a normal, not very bearish but not very bullish spot. And then as soon as we head into October, we really start to kick off. All right, but to close red, we could still be at 46,000. So don't think that this, is just not the bottom because you don't want it to be. It could be. We discussed the dip zone here, but I'm just saying there is another opportunity if Evergrande and infrastructure bill don't go very well for us to come back. But we've got good news now. Robinhood Wallet's massive catalyst, and we'll see how that plays out. But that's great news for Dogecoin and good news for Bitcoin and Ethereum and the others on Robinhood. So excited to see how that plays out. That's about it, guys. Really, like I said, I would start scaling in. I already did. Started buying up some ADA at about 205. If we get another dip down here, obviously that's probably a good buy zone. But like I said, I don't think we're going over 47,000. In my opinion, somewhere around 45, 46 is going to be our resistance areas. And if you want to just check those out, just go to your chart, use your 200, 150 EMAs, and just check the 4-hour chart and the daily chart. You'll see some good lines to look at. We already hit this line right here. 50 EMAs at about 45,200 on the daily, and we've got 45,200 on the 4-hour as well. So that's probably where we're going to stop. And if we do manage to burst above that, we've got pretty strong support at 46 too. So probably will not be going above there for the next week. If you're looking for any short-term scalp trades, that's probably a good sell spot. Hey, late for the stream, but glad to catch the end. Appreciate you, Jonathan. No problem. Hopefully that was informative, guys. I'm going to keep this one short, straightforward, and to the point, and that way anybody that comes back later can just watch this in one go without it being too overwhelming. Hope I answered everybody's questions that they may have. Tune in tomorrow. I will be back live unless something crazy happens to cover whatever's going on next. So we'll love to see you tomorrow. Like this video, subscribe if you have not, and that will do it. I'll catch you guys tomorrow on the next stream. Have a good evening.